Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video I'll be showing you guys how to make an LCD display with the Elegoo Arduino kit. So first of all, what we have here is our LCD display module. This is where the display will appear. Here's our breadboard. So it's basically a solderless board. You just plug the pins and the wires in, and you don't really need to use any solder or anything. It just slips in easily. So this is our Arduino. It works the same as an Arduino, it's just a different brand. And yes, let's get started. So I'm going to put an example of the wiring up on screen now. And you can pause the video to look at that. So let's get started. So first, what you want to do, you want to grab your LCD display and place it on the 15 pin right here, just so you have the best spacing between all of your wires and it doesn't get too cluttered. It might take a bit of a push to go in, and I've missed, but it should go in. Okay, so on here you also have all these different numbers and letters, which is how you're going to coordinate where each wire will go. So first, what you want to do, let's first attach the ground pins. So grab a wire, preferably black if you want to color code it, and on your Arduino, if you have a look right over here, it says ground, GND for ground. So put one end of your wire into ground, just like that, and then the other end in right along the whole row where the blue line is. So I'll just put it at the end, and as you can see, that's where the ground, so we've powered this entire row here. Now next, what you want to do is you want to give the actual power to the board. So for that, there is a piece over here called 5 volt right here. So plug in a cable into 5 volt and plug the line on the red side. Doesn't have to be right next to it, it can be anywhere. Just next to it makes it more organized. So next, what we'll do is we'll grab a ground wire and plug it into the ground power rail, and then the other side will go right on this third row, right on this one. Now you have to be precise with where you put the wires so that it all matches up when we connect it to the LCD. Okay, and now what you want to do is grab a power wire. So I'm going to use red, and you just want to plug that in 2 holes across from the ground one. So 1, 2, and that just goes in like that. So the next thing, which is a little bit tricky, is you've got this potentiometer here, which you want to plug in. So my one takes up 5 rows, which is why it gets a little bit tricky, but it's not that hard. So you grab your potentiometer, which might come in 2 parts for you. These two, that's just simple. You just put them together. Push and you hear click, and then that's it. So see where the 1 pin is? There's 1 pin. That's going to go in between your 2 wires. It's going to go right in there, and your 2 pins are going to go at the very end in the same row as those 2 wires. So if you have a look, they're in the same row as the wires, and the first one's in between them. So push it in a little bit to make sure it's stable, and that's it. It won't go all the way in, it's not supposed to. This is as much as you go in, okay? So the next thing you want to do is you want to grab a wire of any color, and you want to bring it onto the VO cord at the very end. Now it can be put anywhere, but at the very end makes it easier to find out where it is. So VO is the third knot, third dot. So first you put it in here, right under the potentiometer. This is why we don't push it all the way in. And these bend, and that's fine. That's okay. You put it in, and that's fine. and then if you count 1, 2, 3, right here. Okay, so that's powered that, and now the potentiometer is hooked up to the LCD display. On to the next part. Okay, so for the next part, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a power wire and place it anywhere along the power rail for 5 volt. And now it will go on the other side, right next to where we placed our yellow wire on the potentiometer. So this is on VDD, if you can see, just right next to it. And then what we want to do, very simple, just grab a ground wire, place it anywhere along the ground rail, and just right next to the red wire. Right there. So you should have 3 in a row. Any color, it doesn't matter. Now next, what you want to do is grab a ground wire and put it anywhere along here. And you want to skip one and put it right in the next one to that. So this is RW, read and write. This is where your actual text info is going to come from. It's the memory of the LCD display. So that's all there. You should have one space of gap right in the middle there. Okay, so next what you want to do is you want to grab a wire, any color. I'll use red. And if you see on the Arduino, there's pin 12. You're going to plug that into pin 12, just like that. Plug that into pin 12, and you want to put that right on the wire right after VO. So RS. Now it can go anywhere in the line. I'll just place it here. Okay, and it goes from pin 12 on the Arduino to RS. As you can see, it's next to all the others. That's why there was an empty space there. So next what you want to do is grab another wire. This one will go into pin 11, right next to the red one. And this one's going to go right into the E area, E for enable. So this can go here, this can go at the end. Let's just plug it in over here. Now this is all powered up. So the next step is fairly simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a resistor. This is a resistor. It's used to travel power from, for example, power rail straight into the actual breadboard super easily. So what we want to do is place this on a power rail right about over here and plug it in onto the second hole. Any hole works, but just to not bend it that much, we'll put on the second one. So at the end of that, you want to grab a wire, and we just want to plug it in right at the end of that same row. And this will go right over to A. Do you see A? So it's going to go and be plugged into the A. That's in. That's there. It does not matter where you actually put them on the thing as long as the wire ends up connecting over here. Now next what we need is a ground wire. I'm going to plug it in over here. And we're going to put it right next to this wire on the very end, K. Now that's done. Now is the last bit. All we need to do is grab 4 wires, and now these are going to go and power the actual system. So we put one into pin 5 on the Arduino. Just show that to you. The blue wire is in pin 5, and that's going to go all the way to D4. So if you see D4, just plug this in on that row. You can see that's D4, so digital pin 5 into D4. Now we grab another one and plug it in right next to that digital pin 4. This one will go into D6, D5. Right next to it, fairly simple. Now the next one we want to do is grab another wire. This one goes into digital pin 3, again right next to it, and then plugs right next to this into D6. Okay, so the next one, you get another wire, plug it right into digital pin 2, again right next to it, and see this very small gap, you just have to plug that in over there. So if you want to remove another wire temporarily, just put this in. You can, and that's in. Make sure all these wires are secure. All of them are in, none of them are loose. Okay, now that's done. Let's move on to the... Okay, so now that we've opened up the Hello World code, which is on the Arduino project's website, you just open that up. This is already written. You just have some information. All of this is just comments. Comments. So this is where it starts, right over here. This is where it starts. So this should already be here. All of this is fine. Now, what the code will come with is showing robo creators. So all you have to do is connect it with the blue USB cable given to your laptop and to the Arduino, and then click the upload button. Now this should send this code to the Arduino, and then this will play. Now if you want to change it, all you have to do is cancel our robo creators, and let's write subscribe to Brainiatic. Now that we've got this, we just do verify, and right here it says compiling sketch. Done compiling. That means the code is okay, it will work. Now what we have to do is we have to send this code to the Arduino. But let's change it up a bit. So instead of doing this, these are just comments. Anything after a double slash is a comment. It's in gray. It doesn't have anything to do with code. You can delete it. Nothing will change. So all you want to do, let's just remove the comments super quick. Keep the LCD begin, but remove LCD print. But you do want to keep that curly bracket at the end. These two ones have to stay together. Now this is void setup. The 16 and 2 just means the 16 columns and 2 rows. Okay. Now the next thing, this is void loop. You do not want the mills to come because you want to do something very cool instead. So we just bring a curly bracket here. Okay. And now we've got this. Now all we want to do is write a few things onto this. So the first thing we're going to write is LCD dot begin. Basically the same thing as what is over here. It's just that on repeat. You just do this. 16 space 2 close bracket semicolon. Now very simple. Once you've done that, all you want to do is LCD dot print. It will go in orange bracket like this, and now let's write what we want. Subscribe. Now the reason I moved it from void setup to void loop is because on void setup it only happens once. On anything in void loop it will happen over and over again. If you only want it to happen a certain amount of times, you write the number of times inside those brackets. Now I want this to repeat over and over, so I'll put the end quotation marks, it'll go blue, and then we just end that and put a semicolon to end the line. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to put something on the next line. So what we want to do, with no delay, so it happens at the same time, I want to do LCD.set cursor. It'll go in orange to show that that's a real command. 01. Now that means first column, second row. 1 means second row. If you put 0, it'll go to the first row. Okay, so now that we have this, we're just going to have a semicolon and onto the next line. Now here you want to do LCD.print this, and then whatever you want on the second line. I'm going to put my name. Oh wait, no. This won't fit. So because we only have 16 lines, let's just make that subscribe to and then Brainiatic on the bottom. It will all come in at one time. Close the bracket and have a semicolon to end the line. Now the next thing you want to do is do a delay. So you want this to be up for a bit, and then you want the next set of words to come up. So let's go delay bracket 2000 milliseconds. That is 2 seconds. And then the semicolon to end it. Now next thing you want to do is have to set the cursor again. So you want to set the cursor to LCD dot set cursor simple to 0, 1. You want it to be set here. Actually, that's 0, 0. So we're on the first row, first column. That's where the cursor will be set. Now you want to print something, so LCD print. Now let's do this as this. Let's get 2. And then we got semicolon. And then we've got an LCD set cursor again. Now we've got this. We want to set the cursor to 0, 1. Close that, semicolon to end the line. Then LCD dot print. And then we've got 1000 subs. Now once we finish this line off with the semicolon, we are completely done. All you have to do is do a delay 2000 and end it with a semicolon, and that's the last code you'll have to write. Now the only thing that this delay at the end will do is keep the let's get to 1000 subs on for 2 seconds before repeating back to subscribe to Brainiatic and then back to let's get to 1000 subs. Now once you've done this, to make sure you've done everything correctly, click the stick mark. It says verify over here, and that disappears when I move my mouse. Just click this, and down here it should say, oh, something's wrong. So here what it says is expected. So what they want you to put is a semicolon before LCD. The only thing before LCD is this LCD they want something before. So we go up a line right here. I missed a semicolon. Verify it again, and we're done. So that means we have everything correct. All we want to do now is click the upload button and upload it. Okay, so the LCD is on. It has power now that I've plugged in the power, but it is not on. Now this is an easy fix. The wiring is not a problem. So that's what the potentiometer is for. Now this gives the value. So right now mine's on the lowest. So just give it a turn all the way to the very end. And as you see, my code has come up. Make sure to do what it says right here. Let's subscribe. Everyone subscribe. Take a moment to subscribe. Yes, subscribe. Please subscribe. Everyone subscribe. Okay, so let's get to 1000 subs. Now that is that done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment whether this was helpful or not. Whether you want more Arduino helpful tips and tricks and how to create different types of circuits. Brainiatic out.